Hi everyone, Richard here at Calvin Wazoo, and I am up to episode 4 for Jazz Monday. And as the title suggests, we've got some jazz piano, a little bossa nova, but then something that, is it jazz? So we'll see as we go along here. And what I'm going to start off with is piano jazz, and that is Erroll Garner, and this record here, Concert by the Sea. Right, this was first released in 1956 in the US. My copy, I think, is an early 1956 pressing, but it's also very similar, according to the information in Discogs, to a 1961 repress, but there's not enough information in that particular, entry. My runouts, etc., matched the 1956, but the 1961, according to that entry, has identical runouts. So I don't know what's going on. But anyway, Garner is what I call a vocalizer, or actually what is known as a vocalizer while he plays piano. And there are many other jazz pianists who are known for that. Oscar Peterson is one, to a degree, Thelonious Monk, also Keith Jarrett for sure. I mean, you can hear him making sounds, especially in the Cold Concert recording. Nice notes here on the sleeve about the concert, which was at a concert hall in Carmel. So even though it looks like, he was playing outside, it's in a concert hall. And it's a good recording for 1956, a live recording in a concert hall like this, like that. Many of the songs are ones that did not appear on his other releases. So it is a unique, to a large degree, unique entry in his discography, even though it's a live recording. Interesting information, on the back, suggestions on when you should be changing your stylus, etc. The notes on the back are by a George Avakian, and goes through the information, the concert. I believe the person who recorded it was a radio DJ, Jimmy Lyons, who was with K-Don in Monterey. Now I can't remember of what concert hall, but anyway, it's in Carmel, south of San Francisco, on the coast. And the needle drop I'm going to play is called Mambo Carmel. I'm sorry for you people in Russia, you won't be able to hear this because the copyright holder has decided that it would be blocked in Russia, so you can't listen to it. Oh well, here goes Mambo Carmel. Very good tune, and the others are all really, really good, as I say, considering it's a live recording from the 50s. All right, let me put that aside. And then the next one we are going to talk about is this one here, Getz Gilberto. And what I have is a 2018 reissue. The original 1964 release was a gatefold, and this is not a gatefold. And so we have kind of the notes on the back here kind of shrunk. I'm pretty sure that from how they would appear on the original one. It was recorded in 1963, so we have João Gilberto on guitar and vocals, Stan Getz on saxophone, and Antonio Carlos Jobim on piano. I think it's going to be pronounced Jobim. Goes at the channel Guzman or Guz, Brazilian person in the vinyl community. Maybe he can correct my pronunciation, because I think in Portuguese the J is pronounced like a soft J, whereas in Spanish it would be Jobim rather than Jobim. Anyway, let me know in the down under, the right pronunciation. It's got, it starts off with the girl from Ipanema, which, everybody knows. A lot of samba and bossa nova on this. Very light and soothing, nice music for cocktails. And the needle drop I'm going to play is the song Doralice, I think is how you say it, or maybe it's Doralice. Anyway, here we go.
Doralice, o bem que lhe disse, amar é tolice, é bobagem, é ilusão. Eu prefiro viver tão sozinho ao som do lamento do meu violão. Doralice, o bem que lhe disse, olha essa embrulhada em que vou me meter. Agora, amor, Doralice, meu bem, como é que nós vamos fazer? Doralice, o bem que lhe disse, amar é tolice, é bobagem, é ilusão. Eu prefiro viver tão sozinho ao som do lamento do meu violão. Doralice, o bem que lhe disse, olha essa embrulhada em que vou me meter. Agora, amor, Doralice, meu bem, como é que nós vamos fazer? Um belo dia você me surgiu, eu quis fugir, mas...
Very much the samba, the Brazilian bossa nova, really nice record that qualifies as being put in the jazz category, but for some people, maybe it's not jazz. Something that's a little more firmly in place in the jazz genre is this one here by Grant Green, Idle Moments. This is from 1965, and what I have is a reissue from, I believe, 2013 on the DOL or DOL label. They specialize in reissues. And interesting story on the back here, going along with the title track. But with this particular session, we have Joe Henderson on tenor sax, Bobby Hutcherson on vibes, Grant Green on guitar, Duke Pearson on piano, Bob Cranshaw on bass, and Al Harewood on drums. Now, the title track is by Duke Pearson, and it's kind of an interesting story about it, because as he plays the introduction to the song, they play it twice, and then they go into their soloing, and I think what they were only supposed to do was, let's see, they were going to only do 16 bars, but then each solo, that is, they were going to do 16 bars, but because of the way they did the introduction, the soloists took it to play 32 bars. So we get Grant Green being the first soloist, and so he's playing 32 bars, which caught Duke Pearson off guard. But then as the other soloists come in, they do the same thing. So the song was supposed to be, I think under 6 minutes, but it turns out that it's nearly 15 minutes long. But it's a really, really nice take. They did go back and try and re-record it in the shorter format, the way it was supposed to be during that session, but they ended up going with the 15-minute recording instead. So that's the needle drop, Idle Moments. Really, really nice guitar playing, and the melody, the opening melody is really, really nice as well. Solid record, reissue on the DOL or DOL label. You probably know it by, it's typically this black and white, like the moon is about to eclipse the sun kind of thing. So next one is also firmly in the jazz genre, and it's Vince Guaraldi Trio with Cast Your Fate to the Wind, Jazz Impressions of Black Orpheus. Now you probably know, if you're not already familiar with Vince Guaraldi, you probably are familiar with him from the Charlie Brown cartoons on TV, as he plays the piano in the soundtrack. But he's really quite an amazing jazz pianist. And what we have on this record is Vince Guaraldi on piano, Monte Budwig on bass, and Colin Bailey on drums. And I'm always kind of looking for Vince Guaraldi records that are not Charlie Brown oriented releases. And they don't show up. They very rarely do in fact, let me change that. It's not rare. I never see them in stores. And I've got a helicopter flying over, so I apologize for that background noise, city living. And, but this is one that does show up with some fair frequency. I've seen this several times in stores, but alas, the other solo releases by him, I've not ever seen one in the wild in the store, and I would be really interested in collecting them. I've looked them up a couple of times, it's been a while, in Discogs. They tend to be a little on the pricey side, so I haven't looked recently if they're coming down, but that's why I haven't ordered them from Discogs. I guess I'm hoping to find one in a record store someday. So this was released in 1962. My particular copy is a 1963 pressing, and it's on the Fantasy label. And the needle drop I'm going to play for you is a Guaraldi composition, and it is called the title piece, Cast Your Fate to the Wind. So you hear at the beginning, a little bit of probably what you are familiar with when it comes to the Charlie Brown TV shows. But then he just goes into really fantastic and brilliant piano playing. So really excellent record. And I would recommend it if you see it. It's like I say, that one is not uncommon. But like I say, I haven't seen any other Vince Guaraldi records other than the Charlie Brown ones. All right, now we're getting into whether these next two records are even jazz, but I do put them in my jazz section. And they're both by the same artist, and I do this largely because of the second album I'm going to show you is a little more jazz to me than this first one. And that is Tommy Guerrero, and the album is Food Taqueria from 2003. Mine, however, is a reissue for 2017. And nice gatefold. And it is more of a down-tempo Latin jazz, hip-hop, funk kind of thing going on with this record. I know it's, kind of all over the place there in that respect. So in some respects, if this was the first Tommy Guerrero album I ever bought, I probably wouldn't put it in my jazz section, although I wouldn't know necessarily where else to put it. If I would put it in my R&B, soul, hip-hop section, or would I put it in with my down-tempo electronic? No. It's still, to me, has sort of a jazz flavor, his guitar playing. And the needle drop, to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about, is the song Getting It Together. So you can hear, it's this down-tempo, almost ambient kind of playing, but that guitar, his guitar playing is really quite intricate. And this particular song, he is kind of, I don't know. It's almost like he is he's definitely got the kind of the soul and funk going on there, but he still has that flavor of the jazz. This is on this interesting label here, which is, I forget, Be With Records is the label. So fairly recent, I should say, recording. Recent, I don't know what the hell that means. But yeah, I enjoy that because the first Tommy Guerrero record I ever got was this one here, Road to Nowhere. And this was released in 2018. Right now I'm drawing a blank, I can't remember, but Food Taqueria, I said it was a reissue from 2017, but the original was released in 2003. So it isn't really that recent of a recording. This one is much more recent. from, as I say, 2018. It's much more jazz oriented, but it still has this down tempo feel to it. But at the same time, I really, really enjoy that. Interesting, Tommy Guerrero began as a skateboard entrepreneur and a competitive skateboarder before he then started playing the jazz guitar and producing or making records and playing in different bands. So while, as I say, this one has a little more of a jazz feel to it, it still has that down-tempo kind of style to it. The final track, Endless Road, which is, of course, the title of the album is Road to Nowhere, but the final track, not title track, Endless Road, has a feeling his guitar playing is like a combination of, if Jeff Beck and Robin Trower were cloned into one, is the best way I can explain it. The needle drop for you, however, I'm going to play is called El Camino Negro. That is also the opening track to the record. Really, really good stuff. Not your standard label coming with that. So yeah, the Tommy Guerrero, I'm kind of wondering, is it jazz? But it's not strictly funk and hip hop and soul. So I put it in with my jazz collection. Hey, let me know what you think in the Down Under with a comment. And in fact, if you've been able to listen to any other Vince Guaraldi trio records, if you ever see them, let me know. As I said earlier, I never, ever see them. So those are the records I have for this Jazz Monday, which is episode 4. And I hope you enjoyed that. Leave a comment in the Down Under, like, and subscribe. It just helps the video get more distribution. I'm not monetized, as you heard at the beginning, that one of the tracks is blocked in Russia, so I wouldn't be getting any money anyway from these tracks. Please remember, though, I am on Instagram as NewsDude76. That's NEWZDUDE76. And I have a Facebook page, Calvin Wazoo, which I've been posting a lot of other content, not necessarily just my own. And I'm actually far behind in posting my own content on there. I need to catch up because the most recent video of mine that I posted there, I've had at least two, maybe 3 videos published since then. But anyway, check that out also. And always remember to pray for the people inside your head, for they won't be there when you're dead.